you feel stressed and overwhelmed every time you look at your bank account, you're not alone. In fact, as of 2022, a staggering 54% Canadians have reported that they're living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet every month. And it's only going to get worse with the rising inflation and the looming recession. The reality is 2 out of every 3 young Canadians have no savings set aside for their retirement. Hence, I'm making this video to share with you 6 simple and actionable steps that you can follow to break free from the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, because let's all be honest, it's not a nice feeling. I hope you can follow these steps to save for your financial future and hopefully escape the rat race. Make sure to stick till the end, and I promise you, you will feel much more better by the end of this video with regards to your financial situation. Step number 1, budgeting. The first thing to taking control of your finances is to create a budget. If you currently don't have a budget, I highly recommend you get one going. When it comes to budgeting, there are several options you can choose from. While some people may prefer the old-fashioned written budget, other people prefer Google Sheets or a mobile budgeting app like Mint. Mint has a free version that's available to all users, and you can always upgrade later on if you feel like it. I have also attached a free budget template in the description, so you can use that to get started as well. For a month, just try and track all your expected expenses and your actual expenses, and you might be surprised to find out how much you actually spend as compared to how much you think you spent on certain categories, such as eating out. And trust me, I know, I have been there. It's not a pleasant feeling. This will give you a better idea of your spending habits, and then you can work on reducing the expenses in your biggest spending categories once you know what those categories are. Make a habit of writing down all the expenses that you incur at the end of the day, and then set a weekly meeting with your finances and just see how you're actually doing on your budget. Also, try to plan for any huge expenses in advance, such as year-end sales or a vacation. You can also set aside funds for these goals in your budget, such as creating a fund for your vacation or birthday presents or your wedding. Step number 2, reduce your expenses. Now that you have your budget in place, it's time to carefully assess your expenses and cut down your expenses where you can. Start by reviewing your highest spending categories and try and figure out what expenses can you easily reduce. Go through all your fixed expenses like rent, mobile phone bill, etc., and try and figure out if you can reduce any of those expenses. One good rule of thumb is if you're spending more than 30% of your income on rent, it's probably time to either downsize or get a roommate. And if you have a lot of subscriptions like Netflix, HBO, and Hulu all at the same time, maybe consider canceling all the subscriptions but just keeping one, and then in the next month you can cancel that subscription and activate the other subscription. That said, your goal during this stage should be finding healthy ways to reduce your expenses and not developing an unhealthy relationship with money. And to reduce your variable expenses, there are a couple of things you can do. For example, instead of buying new things every single time, you can try and get some items from Facebook Marketplace. Another thing that personally helps me is having a few no spending days in a month, wherein no matter what happens, I try and not spend any money. Even if you schedule a week of no spending days in a month, that will help you save a lot of money over time. Another way to cut down your expenses is to experiment with meal prepping. Personally, for me, meal prepping has never been about saving money, but more so about not having to worry about what to cook or cooking frequently. Step number 3, finding ways to increase your income. Trust me, you are able to make more money than you think you can. Oftentimes, people try and be stingy and are so focused on their expenses that they forget that they can also work on increasing their income. The reality is, even if you cut down all your expenses mercilessly, you still will need to earn a lot more money in order to be able to, save that extra money and invest and do whatever you may with it. One secret tip to stop living from paycheck to paycheck is to just smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and help me reach a lot more people. On a serious note though, you can start by asking a raise with your current employer or try to switch for a better paying job. You can also get a side hustle going, get a part-time job, or try monetizing one of your hobbies. Let's say you're good at photography. You can try and create a portfolio, or maybe do a bunch of free photo shoots initially, and then eventually, work on making it into a full-time paying profession or even as a side hustle. And if you're not sure where to start, just look up videos on YouTube and try and find a mentor if that helps. From my personal experience, I can tell you 80% of the output comes only from the first 20% of the effort. So the sooner you get going, the sooner you will be able to establish any hobby as a side hustle, so long as you're willing to learn and work towards it. Honestly, with so many free and low-cost resources available online these days, there's virtually no excuse to not dabble into a side hustle. So let me ask you this, do you have any one skill that you can hone in on and use it to make some extra money on the side? I encourage to zone in on it for the next 6 months and see what happens. You will be surprised. During this process, it's important to get rid of any limiting beliefs that are holding you back and just have faith in yourself and trust the process. What are some of your limiting beliefs and what reasons do you give yourself to justify them to you? Let me know in the comment section. Personally, I feel like I'm a very camera shy person, yet here I am recording a YouTube video, so I can tell you that you can do it too. Step number 4, get rid of any existing debt. Now that you have established a steady flow of income and managed to cut down your expenses, it's time to get rid of any existing debt that you have. It doesn't make any sense to save money or invest it if you already have a lot of debt that's costing you 22% or 20% in interest rates. So if you have a lot of debt such as school loans or credit card debt, I would encourage you to start paying that debt first of all, and once you have paid it off, we can move on to the next steps. During this stage, it's also important to be intentional and avoiding any huge expenses. These expenses can come in the form of buying a new car or feeling like buying a new phone or giving an expensive present to a friend or a family member. One good rule of thumb that I personally follow is if I can't afford to buy something twice, I simply do not buy it. Another tip I would recommend is sometimes if you feel the impulse of buying something that feels like a necessity, try to avoid buying it for a week or two, and chances are most of the times you would feel like you don't even need it anymore. Also try to avoid the temptation to buying expensive things during holiday sales when you see them on a discount. Remember, it's 100% off if you don't buy it. Step number 5, build an emergency fund. As you continue on your journey of reducing your expenses, increasing your income, and after paying all your debt, you will soon start seeing money that you can put to good use. This would be a good time to create an emergency fund that should contain 3 to 6 months of your living expenses for any unexpected circumstances. You can automate saving for your emergency fund by setting automated transfers every single month to your savings account. Once you have gotten rid of all the debt and saved enough for your emergency fund, it's time to move to the 6th and final step. Step number 6, invest your money. The money kept in a bank, even in a savings account, loses value over time due to inflation. So it's really important to invest your money to make sure that it doesn't lose its value. Investing can be a great way to save for retirement and have your money grow over time. And honestly, it doesn't have to be that complicated. If you're a complete beginner and you don't know where to start, you can rely on investing apps like Wealthsimple Invest that invest your money for you every single month. You can automate a certain amount that you want to be invested, and the app invests your money into the index funds for you, so you don't have to manage it yourself. You just need to specify your risk tolerance and your investment horizon, and the app does everything for you for a very small fee. Since Wealthsimple Invest invests your money into index funds for you, you don't have to worry about picking the perfect stock or trying to figure out the perfect time to buy a particular index fund. Even if you invest $200 every month, the total amount will grow exponentially over the years as compound returns act like a snowball rolling downhill. The returns begin small and slowly at first, but picks up size and momentum as time moves on. For example, if you had invested $1,000 today and added $200 every month with a conservative rate of return of 8% annually, the total amount will grow to be around $290,000, with your actual contribution only being $73,000. You would have actually earned 3 times more by just the interest itself. Although this video has not been sponsored by Wealthsimple Invest, I just mentioned it because it's the perfect app for the beginners who just want to get into investing. I will be sharing the link of the app in the description if you would like to take a look. Now, I know personal finance can be one of those subjects that people either hyper obsess about or completely ignore, and most people go through the phases between the two. And I'm here to tell you that with a little bit of planning and effort, you can definitely be on your way to breaking the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and have a successful financial future. So that's all for today. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.